You taught him, Mom. Government school didn't teach him.
I
They're going to be so not socially fit if they're taught in home school. I love your minds. Look at government school and look at small, rural, one-room schools or mom and pop teaching our founding fathers or our ancestors. People were smarter. I was reading a Reader's Digest 8th grade math problem, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. That is a word problem. It was an 8th grade math back in like 1890. It was so complex. I was like, dude, I can't do it. And that's because we had a higher standard. We did, and bigger is not better. It's not quantity, it's quality.
Yes. And it's like, okay, this I've gone through, like, I used to not feel like this, whether anybody believes that or not. This has only been a major recent, discovery for me. And it's been hard since the beginning of this year. So we're talking 11 months since I've seriously been, coming across all these realizations. And since then, oh, man, me personally getting away from everything, and I know this is really weird for people, but I've been small, really tiny my entire life. I was maybe 100 pounds when I got pregnant with my son. But let me tell you, I did breastfeed him until he was about 20 months. 20 months. I had even started working, and he was in like a daycare, which didn't start until he was about 18 months. But I was still breastfeeding him, and he was eating solid foods. And his whole thing, he loved, okay, I know it's really bad, but thanks to his daddy, his whole thing was he'd go, I want booby. Booby, booby, booby. He's still doing that now. It's like when
he sounds like most men.
Yeah. But as soon as we stopped, he stopped doing it. It was really good. It's like I told him, hey, this is ending, and he never mentioned it again after that. It's amazing. But,
wow.
We don't communicate with our kids, and breastfeeding is such an important thing, and it's something people are seeing on TV and everything else to show that it's such a negative thing to do. Here, you can use this formula. Look what's in the formula.
Well, and we're talking about control, and I'm reading this pamphlet this morning. If you have, 50 or more trucks that haul food, by the way, you can get, 20 cents less a gallon. But if you don't have 50 or more trucks, you can't pay the retail price. That's not the fair market, And it's like, so you got to be a Megan trucking outfit. I mean, 50 trucks, you got to have millions and millions of dollars. That's lots of money.
To pose the same, you've got to be able to pose the same example as Walmart and Costco. Because
right.
Not showing the people the same numbers. Well, they'll go there because it's cheaper. They can cheaper than they can grow here.
Yeah, and then I'm watching this commercial in the truckers' lounge, and it's like this lady lifting Target carts, and she's exercising for the big Thanksgiving day after sale, and she's on her treadmill, and she's in her Target outfit, and then it shows her running through Target, the sale, because she's so in shape to go crazy for and I about threw up, and I said to everyone, I says, this is what people see Americans as. Is this disgusting? I mean, it's disgusting.
Right? It's the tax-free holidays, that they do for school and stuff. People end up spending a lot more money than they ever intended, and it gets, 8 cents off? Well, here in Texas, our sales tax is, 8.5, I think.
Too high.
Yeah, but we also don't have a tax that comes out of our income for the state. So for the state alone, it's just a straight sales tax, which I don't mind at all, for real. But when you have a tax-free weekend, it actually confuses people. They think they're going to get a huge discount. Let's go do it now. We're talking 9 cents on the dollar, people, for real. $100 to maybe get $1 freaking off. I'm not joking. And people think this is the good way to go.
And remember that big old guy that was ran over by the people in Chicago, and they opened a Walmart a few years ago, and they trampled him to death? They actually bought the commercial. Yeah, and I'm like, he was 6'5", 300, and the people trampled him to death. I just,
programming.
Come on.
You watch a commercial say, this is what gives you status, this is what makes you look good, you have to buy this, or you're stupid.
And half of America's on what, guys? Serotonin reuptake inhibitors, depression medication, which, by the way, if you look at the insert, causes depression and anxiety. You tell people that, right?
If you need the right amount, it's produced in the brain, so actually adjust what you eat, because if you have control over your food, then you have control over your health. And if you have control over your health, you have control over your life. And that's what they're trying to do right now, is to take that, because that's the one area they definitely do not have control of. But look, we don't learn how to make food from our parents anymore. That's something that used to be a commonplace practice. You know, you learned how to fix food from your parents and your grandparents. You know, recipes were kept hidden from the outside, only passed down to one person in the family. That's
you got it.
More. Now
you got it.
Yeah, now you get a recipe and it says, hey, buy this product and add it, just throw it in the oven.
Yeah, it's got the little R, registered trademark. Buy this, brand, put it in, and then the next brand. I mean, this is where we're getting away from our humanity. Like right now I'm sitting outside on the grass here in, I don't even know where I'm at exactly. I'm not in Memphis, but outside of it. And, and I'm not in the building. The sun's almost finished for the day, but it's on my skin. I'm getting some vitamin D. And, I totally agree with what you had to say.
Go inside. Go inside if you're sick. People stop doing that. Okay, look, that's recycled air, and all that does is recycle your sickness. Go outside.
Yeah.
Outside, absorb vitamin D and calcium. Okay, you have vitamin D to process calcium. Calcium is going to help you get better. Believe it or not, so will garlic. Garlic is one of the best.
Oh, God, that's great. I love garlic.
I put so much garlic in everything. Some people freak out.
Awesome.
I put garlic in
Hippocrates? He said garlic and onions. Let your food be your medicine be your food.
Yeah.
Oh, garlic and onions. Oh, I love it.
Naturally.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, I really do. I put garlic down to my eggs, and I'll make like I'll
that's great.
In, and then I'll saute the garlic a little bit first, so fast with butter, throw the mushrooms, the garlic's nice and soft. I put that on like just about everything. On a good fried egg.
I got to get one of those presses that you press and it gets the oil out of the garlic, and you have your own garlic oil. Oh, yeah.
And that smell, to me, it just smells awesome. But I know some people don't like garlic. But a lot of times what happens with that is they don't actually cook it. They think, they'll and it's really strong if you don't cook it, because garlic is a very strong flavor, but it is so healthy for you. It can even help keep mosquitoes away if people don't realize that. But
oh, yeah, I heard that. And you know what, olive oil, because olive oil goes with garlic, since we're talking about it. I was looking how to make my own olive oil and grow olive trees into different climates and what olive trees are in a little bit colder climate will work and all this. And I looked at real good olive oil, guys. It's not clear. Okay, it's not clear at all. It's all the phytochemicals that are the good stuff are taken out of it, the naturally occurring phytonutrients. That's because it's been through all those strainers, but it's the cloudy.
You have to get an extra virgin olive oil to be able to get anything that's actually even slightly pure. You actually have to read it because it'll say olive oil and other. It says other. What does that mean?
And then I was watching a thing about you should not keep it in the light in a glass bottle. It makes it rancid. It makes it bad. It breaks everything down. You should keep it in those, those big cans that are like, steel, and it's dark. And then the real olive oil, like the real hardcore, beautiful olive, it's actually cloudy with chunks in it. Yeah. And that's like
when it settles, it gets the sediment and almost like like a thing like about maybe 1/5 at the bottom, It's a whole thing. But that has to do with things settling. That means it's more natural. If you see something pretty much consistent when it's been sitting there, that's not really a good thing, because nothing in this world that's natural does that. Everything is like combined, When
right.
Like that's the best way to tell that it's synthetic and not natural.
Well, yeah, and I just ask everybody, when their eyes click open in the morning, why do they get out of their beds? And if you examine that, why you put the first foot down, the second foot down, why do you go through the motions? What is your purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing? Ask yourself that. Do you have peace in your heart? The way you're living daily or minute by minute, is it bringing you joy? There is a time limit here. The clock is running, the meter, so to speak, and I guarantee you.
You've been on TV. Does that make you happy?
Yeah, and I guarantee you, most of us work the jobs we work out of fear. Fear runs our. Well, if I don't do this, I can't have this mortgage. I can't have this car payment. Well, how do you expect to live, Uncle Buck?
Because women are supposed to be like completely materialistic. So if you don't have money, women are even that man's not worth it. You need to find another one.
Yeah, George Fortile put a video out last night about that. It was called something breaking down economy and loose women, and his buddy's wife is leaving it.
Titles and stuff.
Yeah, George Fortile, he said he noticed that, and more 30s-ish men can't find they're unemployed or underemployed,
and
they're leaving them. They're saying, dude, I'm out of here. You can't provide me. You can't. Yeah, and the reason is you're plugged into the system. So how does Uncle Buck doing it? Well, Uncle Buck has had work, 180 hours a week. I don't think there is that many, but I'm stepping out of that machine, and I got my piece of land. I got my dirt, folks. I got my dirt off there's many websites, but I did mine off landcentral.com. And no credit check, guys. Little money down, little money a month. They specialize in rural land. Moving on from that, the lady is basically finally banging out my land patent, so I don't have to pay the county taxes. Almost separated myself into a sovereign secure creditor. That's being done by Drew Anna. See, these are the tools I'm trying to give people on YouTube, DRUANNA. Instead of just complaining, here's the tools that I've used. And
so
that
how do you think that actually, because women especially, and I hate to do this because I have a major issue with this, fairy tales and other things that especially women pay attention to when they're young, that's the thing. As parents, we automatically put our girls in fancy little dresses, and not me, I'm sorry, I just push away from it. But not me as an example, I'm saying in general, women have to, they go out, they have these babies are infants, and they buy all these big, fluffy dresses, like that's supposed to be okay, right? And they put guys in sports outfits instead, And how does that work with anybody's perception of what reality truly is, okay? Me, Seth, he was lucky, he had a diaper most days. I never really dressed him, okay? There was no reason, He was around the house. I'll put on a shirt. Why? Because somebody else told me that was what is needed. And to me, that's insane. Kids are kids. It used to be that you used to see kids running around, especially guys, topless all the time. People always run around with their shirts off because, they're guys. It's okay. Not anymore. All that has been going away because we're taught by society that you have to have a label on the front of your shirt that says where you bought, what you bought, so that you can have status, so that you can be better than the person next to you.
I want buckskins. I'm like, cool. And I said this to Senator Tyler this morning. We're late over. I said, do you remember Grizzly Adams? He's like, oh, yeah, that was a great show. Right? I even saved off YouTube the Grizzly Adams to my favorites at the beginning. And I said, do you know why you like that, right? And he said, well, I'm not sure, but I love that. I go, it symbolized that even as children, it was freedom. We saw that as freedom. He goes into the wilderness. He leaves the world. He's got his bear bin and his old man trapper friend, and it was freedom.
Yes, and then beyond the woman thing, which I think we need to get away from the fairy tales, because you don't need a man in shining armor, because that's an unrealistic reality that no man can ever live up to. And so if you keep holding that as being true, then trust me, you'll never be happy. But moving on past that, when it comes to the man's perception of what he needs to do, men used to be able to take care of their family, and the women take care of their family too. It was a joint effort. It wasn't the team, the field, because the women didn't. It wasn't like it was like what we're taught. It's the exact opposite of what we're taught. Okay, people. People actually worked. They used their own ability. They actually used their muscles, their sweat, their blood to provide for their family. And now
it was a team effort.
Yes, it really was. And look, if you ever look at all the examples, and even in the old pictures, do you see people smiling? They were. You always see them with their kids and their families. Now, when you see pictures, the kids, when they're just pictures, the kids are in their room watching TV.